Here's how to perform well under pressure. I used to be a professional violinist, now I'm an orthopedic surgeon. If I know anything, it's how to perform well under pressure, whether it's a big performance, a competition, a big test, or a big surgery. Now, I see a lot of advice saying things like outcome independence and get into your flow state. Well, in my experience, that's very hard to do in a pressure situation. So I say go the opposite way, embrace the pressure. And to do that, you actually have to up the intensity of your practice sessions. Michael Jordan said he made practices so hard that games were easy. Well, I think people misinterpret that. They think he meant physically hard. They think he meant the practice was physically hard. I think he meant the practices were mentally hard. He made every drill a high stakes competition. He made every rep something that mattered, like it was life or death. And if that was enough, he would gamble on it. You need to do the same mentality when you practice. Take music, for example. When I was a violinist, I knew in an audition situation I would be nervous. My hands would shake or my heart rate would go up. So I would simulate that. Number one, I'd get out the tape recorder. Back then we had tape recorders, a cassette tape. Hit record. I knew this was going to be recorded. I would imagine the scenario in which if I mess up this take, I'm not going to win that audition. I'm not going to win that competition. I would mentally feel the pressure build up and then perform. And what would happen is that any weaknesses would show up and I'd find out on that day, and that's what would guide my practice the next few days. Same thing for a test. I hate when I see people studying for a big test and they're in really comfortable pajamas and they have a nice snack next to them and they're nice and warm. No, that's not how the test is going to be. You have to put the scenario when you're doing practice questions that it's very intense, it's very uncomfortable. If you do poorly on this practice test, if you do poorly on this group of questions, you're a complete failure. You have to raise the intensity that much. And so what happens is that if you repeat this over and over, you put the pressure situation on, you learn from that, and you get better and better. By the time the real day comes, by the time the big test is there or the big performance, the big game, you're almost relieved. That's how I felt. By the time the big day came, I was almost relieved it would be over. So if you think that practice intensity is just too much, well, it worked for me. I think it'll work for you. Good luck.